You're listening to The Lowdown Show.
The house that AJ Styles built.
Your Raw and Smackdown live review and discussion show.
Drink it in, man.
Right here on the No Holds Barred Network.
You're looking at the real deal now. Gonna kick this sorry ass out on the street. What you got? You used to think you owned the street. We'll pack your bags and your ass is dead meat. Victory sweet. Here's a receipt.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and all my corporate sellouts out there. Welcome to episode 3 of the newly revamped Lowdown Show, your Raw and Smackdown live review and discussion show right here on the No Holds Barred Network, your source for all WWE, NXT, and UK wrestling coverage. You can follow us live every Thursday, except for this time, we're offline tonight, on Spreaker. Download the free app on all Apple and Android devices. We're also available on YouTube, iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and SoundCloud, so check us out wherever it's convenient for you to listen to us. For all network updates, follow us on Twitter at NHB Network. As well, follow the show, the A Show, at The Lowdown Show. I am your host of The Lowdown Show, Mr. Corporate himself, Corporate Cappy, at Cappy Collects on Twitter. You can follow me. And I'm joined by my two co-hosts as always. First of all, we got the main roster Maharaja, Bryan, at Heel Turn 21. Bryan, what's going on?
What's up, guys? Good to be back. We had a little bit of technical difficulties last week, but hold on. 7-second dance break, guys.
Wow. What is that?
And we're back. 7-second dance break, everybody.
Anyways, and last but not least...
It's been nice. You guys have a good show.
And last but not least, he is the one and only, you heard him just there, the natural born heel, lives by that every day and everything that he does, and Cornette Jr., he is Tyler Jones, at TylerJones_22 on Twitter. Hello, Tyler.
Hello, how's it going?
Well, besides the fact that your boy Cornette's going to be commentating an upcoming indie show.
I don't know, I'm hopefully going to be there because it is in Nashville, so...
Cody Rhodes
Hopefully I'm
defending
gonna
the NWA title. That should be interesting.
Yeah.
So, again, apologies for last week. We had major audio issues. My MacBook just went all crazy, so... Got together with the B Show over there, Kyle Masters, and we got this stuff figured out since he's been doing this a long time. So he's better than me at that, at least. I'll give him that. So we got it fixed. So we're here for you guys. And since we didn't get to do the Hell in a Cell review last week, we're kind of going to go over Hell in a Cell in our How to Book segment, which we're going to debut this week. And we're just going to start from Hell in a Cell of How to Book and then go right into, I guess, Survivor Series is the next major pay-per-view. I'm not counting those, whatever they want to call them, Crown Jewel and Super Showdown and Evolution. I'm really not counting those. Maybe Evolution because it's actually a pay-per-view.
I don't think WWE is even counting Evolution anymore because I haven't heard anything about it for the last 2 weeks.
How have they been building this, by the way, lately? I haven't heard anything about this.
I don't know, but I've literally heard nothing of it for the last 2 weeks.
Oh my god.
So,
No such thing as build-ups anymore.
Oh, Tyler Jones can go on his old school rants that we always love.
I think Brie Bella might have kicked Vince McMahon in the face a couple times.
We will go over that. Don't worry.
We don't forget about the women's evolution.
That is hilarious. So, anyways, we might as well just start off with Monday Night Raw reactions. What we thought was good, what we thought was bad, and I guess we could start off with it since you already brought it up. There's a lot of strong opinions on both sides about this topic about the Brie Bella, kicks to Liv Morgan that caused her to have a concussion in the middle of the match. What are your guys' thoughts on this whole fiasco and all the backlash that's been going on?
Well, there's not much that gets me emotionally involved with wrestling anymore, but I was legit heated at this spot. There's so many things. it's very easy to bash Brie Bella, and of course we're gonna do that. But it's not even about them being the Bella twins and about them being part of the old school women. It's just this is worker to worker, and she's just not being safe. Not just this moment, but I think last week she kneed Ember Moon in the face, or what is the girl with the over on SmackDown that she kneed in the face as well? Zelina Vega. I think she kneed her in the face as well. She almost killed herself twice. It's like people are like, oh, it's wrestling. This happens, and you know what? It does happen, but when it's happening on a consistent basis is when it's a problem. And you know what? Go ahead and go botch and break your own neck, but you don't do this to someone. A 110-pound girl. If you see the footage and you actually slow it down, she knocks her out, and as she's falling over, she just doubles down and kicks her again. Not only that, but okay, you knock a girl out, girl, guy out. When they're on the floor, you don't know at that moment. You don't know exactly what you did. She could have broken her neck. So what does Brie Bella do? She triples down, flips her over to pin her. After that, drags her to the other corner. It's like, dude, you could have killed this girl if she had a broken neck.
Yeah. Ty, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, I mean, it's pretty apparent. She's always sucked. Both of them have always sucked. It's pretty sad that Brie's considered the better one, but she is. But I mean, I agree. I mean, this happens too much to consider her to be a good wrestler. I'm sorry. Like, if you can't even take care of somebody properly, or it's not even like with the whole kick thing. Like, all you have to do is follow the crowd. They chant, yes, yes, yes. Why can you not just count that? Why did you go into fucking Naomi kick mode where you do fucking piston kicks into her face? I mean, the whole point of yes kicks is so the person can go backwards, show the movement, go with the crowd, and that's the whole point of it. And she just took it upon herself to beat the shit out of somebody. And then after that, she went and elbowed Ruby Riott in the face. I mean, she's just not good. And anybody who sits there and sticks up for her is just a fucking idiot. I'm sorry. You don't know what you're talking about.
And I don't mind people trying to defend her, but
I do.
No, I mean, I get, not that I don't mind, but I get it. But she's been a worker for 10 years.
Oh, it's just ring rust. No,
you don't get it by now. You don't get it.
If my thing is they use the defense of the ring rust. It's like, okay, if she has this much ring rust, why the fuck is she back this early?
Exactly.
That's my issue with it. That's my thing. Like, she's been off, having the kid and everything. If she wasn't ready to come back, don't force her back. Why? Like, if she needed a couple more months
it's not like
of
they're even
training,
doing anything with them that it matters. There was no point to bring them back.
But for this whole evolution thing, that's the only reason why they brought her back this early.
Have them make a fucking thing. They did the Raw 25th anniversary and brought back all those women, and all they did was come out and wave on the stage. And now, we're going to bring the Bellas back too quick just because, we need them. No, you don't. We've been without them for a year and a half. We've been fine.
If they're going to be a liability to other talent, then why are they in the ring?
And
plus, they're just there to fucking extend their acting career. They just want to be actors. They don't give a shit.
And I'm sure the Twitter social justice warriors are going to eat me up for this one, but they are negatively affecting the whole women's evolution. They're literally exposing everything that was wrong. And you know what? I'm sorry, but you can look at every single women's match. I don't care if it's Charlotte versus Becky. They're still botching. Yep. And yes, everyone botches, but no one botches as consistently as the women. Every single women's match there's a botch.
You know what? Let me piggyback off of that. And you know why that is? Because women shouldn't be doing the same shit that these men are doing. They physically and scientifically cannot. Their bodies don't have enough fucking fat and muscle on them to protect them from these bumps, which is why we're getting a ton more women's injuries than men's injuries. Have we not noticed that? I mean, like, look at how many women are getting injured. Ronda fucking throwing people around, and it's like, that's what happens when we have all these women doing these super fucking bumps and taking these crazy moves. What do you expect? They're not designed for that.
I agree, and people like say, "Oh my God, you guys are sexist," and this and it's like, no.
I'm the biggest liberal in the fucking world. I want women's rights, but that's just stupid. Science doesn't lie.
I have a little girl, and she loves wrestling and this and that, and she wants to be a wrestler. Fine, but you're not gonna tell me that you're gonna throw a 115-pound Sasha Banks through a table. It's just not gonna happen.
That shouldn't
You know,
happen.
it shouldn't
can't
happen,
take
and,
that.
it's not. You're not gonna throw a 115-pound Sasha Banks through a table and say, "Well, she can do it." I mean, Randy Orton can do it. Why can't she do it? Randy Orton's 6'5", 200 and who knows many pounds of muscle. It's like he's built for that. Men are built bigger than women. It's just, I mean, it's like you said, it's science. And you know what? And
Science never lies.
the minute it does happen, and the girls get injured, what does everybody say? Oh, they shouldn't have done that. Oh, they're women. They shouldn't be doing it. Oh, now they shouldn't be treated different. It's like, I'm all for equality, but there's just some stuff that they can. I mean, there's just stuff we can't do as men that women can do, and that's okay. You know what I mean? It's just this whole women's evolution thing is getting out of hand, and stuff like this is happening.
Women can get the push and be good wrestlers without doing these stupid indie moves and getting themselves hurt. Like, I don't understand what the correlation. There should be no correlation.
And people hate on Alexa Bliss because she's not bumping and this and that. Dude, she's one of the most over girls on the show.
Yeah, and she doesn't really
And
get hurt
it's
on a
all
regular
character.
basis.
And she's not hurting other people at the same time.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, like, the whole Hell in a Cell thing, like, I was proud of Sasha and Charlotte for doing it, but, like, did that match really need to be in a Hell in a Cell? Like, what point did that have being in a Hell in a Cell?
You know what, guys? All this circles back around to is that the fans are so hypercritical and want too much. Because now everything's out in the open, so it's like, oh, we gotta have the best fucking super matches we can have because we can't pretend anymore. Fuck you guys.
And it's very hypocritical, this whole women's revolution thing, because like I just said, you can watch any single match, women's match on the main roster, there's a botch. Or two. I don't care if it's Charlotte, I don't care if it's Alexa or if it's Ronda Rousey. But the minute a guy botches in this match, oh, that was the dumbest thing ever, blah, 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 blah. But if Charlotte and Becky Lynch are botching in a match, oh, it's just, they're just the women. Okay.
That's the thing. We don't need to see 5-star indie matches every week. I think people are kind of going overboard with that. And Ty and I have talked about this off air many a times. Is that I don't think people people seem to think that just because they're not having a 5-star match doesn't mean that it's not a good feud or a good build up.
And people don't even know what a 5-star match is anymore because I will put $1 billion. If I had money, I'd put it on there. The first 5-star match Dave Meltzer ever gave out was between Jerry Lawler and Terry Funk. I'll put money on it. Most modern fans have never watched that match, for one, and if they did, wouldn't think it was a 5-star match because of the way that they all think now. So shut up.
And
Just
this
watch
whole-
it.
This whole 5-star match and flip-flop and stuff like that, Raw had the lowest ratings
Of
all
all
time.
time.
all time. And people say, "Oh, this is the greatest time for professional wrestling." No, it's not. It's
You're
the
stupid.
lowest time
People-
for professional
People are
wrestling.
willing to spend more money on wrestling now, but there's not near as many people watching it. Not even close.
It's the greatest time for professional wrestling because you have the most amount of access to it. You know, 20 years ago during the Attitude Era,
Which I
the internet
disagree.
the internet was you know, barely coming alive, stuff like that. You know, I couldn't go to 20 indie shows in a week. You can do that nowadays, but that doesn't mean that it's the greatest time of all time. You know, it's just
No,
like
because
saying,
most of
oh,
those indie shows suck anyway and have
Exactly.
nobody
It's like-
on it.
It's
So
it's more
not like it
accessible
matters.
nowadays.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
like going to a very great minor league baseball game. Oh, okay, that's great, but it's not the Dodgers. It's not the Angels. It's not the Yankees. Like, who cares? And when the Dodgers and the Yankees and the Angels suck, baseball sucks. Don't sit here and tell me it's the great. But if the minor leagues are doing great, no, who cares?
It's great that like the developmental territory and the indies are doing great because that gives other people opportunities to have jobs. That's great. I love that. I would love to get back to somewhat of a territory day. We can't because Vince has ruined that, but we can get somewhere a new form of it and kind of where we're going. But the problem is we don't really have real training, even though there's a wrestling school in every state. People don't know what the hell they're doing more than they did back in the day. It's so stupid.
It's
You
a
have more
great-
access to fucking research and development and everything through the network and YouTube, and people just don't flat out use it. They're just gonna listen to these idiot fans and just go off whatever they say. Stupid.
It's a great time to be a wrestler because you can go work at 15 indie shows during a week, and it's a great time to want to become a wrestler because there's 20 wrestling schools in every corner, but no one's watching, so who cares?
Yep.
And is that why you think Raw had the lowest viewership rating this week?
I mean, I fell asleep an hour and a half into it. It's just that bad.
I can't sit and watch a 3-hour of this. I can't. It's impossible.
I used to have it on just as background TV. Now I just turn it off. It's just, it's horrible. There was, I would
honestly, rather do other stuff than watch that. I would rather go and watch old Raws that I know the all the outcomes, just because I know that there's going to be a better storyline. So at least I'm going to get sucked into that part of it. I'd rather do that.
I was watching Love and Hip Hop with my girlfriend. Like, let's be honest. What was there to talk about on Raw?
Well, we always have the Roman agenda, which is a weekly thing on Raw.
And that's another thing. Like, Roman's a fighting champion. All the main titles on Raw are locked up in a 6-man tag team match.
Yep. And I love it. All the fans bitch about Brock, and then it's like,
yeah,
well, we never got a title fight. Well, it's basically in the same boat now. It's there, except now it's there, and it's not being defended, and it's being tied up, which is even worse in my opinion.
It's worse. It's in your face, but we're not gonna do it.
After they've been screaming and telling you they're gonna do it.
So
we're bitching too much already, but regardless, it's just this shit's just annoying. It's getting to the point where it's unwatchable.
I mean, I guess the only thing we can talk about that was of any importance on this show was the whole Dean Ambrose teased heel turn, ultimatum given to him by Drew McIntyre, Ziggler, and Braun.
Yeah, and they're late on that too. Fucking missed the boat on that when Dean came back. Should have just beat the shit out of the Shield. Fucking when he came back looking like a heel. Now they decide, let's try to turn him heel because everybody started talking about it. You fucking morons.
It should have been day one. He looked like a fucking heel when he came out. His mannerisms are 100% heel.
Heel.
You know, it's just, if you're gonna do it at 100%. You know what? Even if, let's just say on Raw, Dean would have went out there and been like, "All right, guys, I'm joining you guys." Like, what was the point at this point? Okay.
Well, it's like, what's the point of fucking Braun teaming up with Ziggler and McIntyre? Why did either of those guys need? The only person that needs the other ones is Ziggler. Braun doesn't need anybody. McIntyre doesn't need anybody. Why are we acting like these guys need each other? I don't get it.
I swear they think we're fucking children. Like, nothing was more cringeworthy. Nothing was more cringeworthy than when all three of them did the Braun arm lift.
And you know what, man?
Are you fucking kidding me?
Stephanie McMahon comes out in all these interviews and says, "Well, we listen to our fan base, which is why we're successful." You obviously fucking don't. Obviously.
They listen to the casuals that put money in their pockets, obviously.
But I would disagree that casuals put money in the pockets. I think it's these nerds.
There is no casuals.
Okay, here's my thing. We talk about how there's less people watching wrestling, but more of them spend more money. A prime example are all these stupid, nerdy Twitter accounts with these people that have pictures of Alexa or Liv and whatever,
Roman.
and will fight to the death for them online and on Twitter. Those people are spending probably $200 a month on bullcrap because they're so nerdy and they expect to be heard. They're getting your money. They don't care. Quit spending the money. That is how you get companies to listen to you. You quit giving them money.
You stop going to these shows. Like, I know people that like shit all over the product and then will still go to like a Raw or SmackDown. I'm like, what's the point of shitting on it if you're just gonna go to that? No, Kyle did. Kyle hasn't. But like even yeah, I know. Leave Kyle alone on this one. He's on a good side with this one. But that's the thing. Like, I know people that have said like that complain about the product more than all of us combined, and then still go to the shows. It's like you're still giving them money. What I thought, like, that's why I didn't go to Raw and SmackDown when they came to Toronto or Buffalo. Like, that's the thing. Like, I'm not gonna give them money if they're gonna keep giving me shit, not make me spend my people's money on going to these shows that aren't worth it.
Plus, I'll tell you what else. They talk about how the network has made everything better, and in some ways it has because you can go back and watch things. But but it's made it worse too. Because why would I want to go watch and pay money to go watch this garbage live when I can get it for free? Basically, I mean, yeah, $10 a month, whatever. But in the grand scheme of things, very cheaply. So why would I even leave my house to go watch this crap? I don't need to.
It's not like there's something there that's going to happen that's going to blow me away.
Right. I mean, like, why can't we go back to old? Quit putting all the pay-per-views on there. Force people to come pay for this shit. Quit putting, all this stuff for free. Honestly, they need to cut live events back, like, in half, because it's not like those make any money anyway. What's the point?
And it's hurting the wrestlers, too. That's why we're seeing more injuries, too.
And we were talking about with the injuries and things, and it's like we're running all these guys into the fucking ground.
I've always said that they should not be wrestling 5 events a week. They should maybe 3.
One on live, or one on TV, 2 live events. Fine. Even that, like, honestly, a live event a week should be enough. I really don't understand.
If I can touch on really quick the whole going to an event live, I'm guilty of it because I am going to the whole Survivor Series weekend. But if I can defend myself really quick, the only reason I'm going is because it's Survivor Series weekend. As a wrestling fan since a little kid, I've been to WrestleMania. I'm going to the Rumble next year, and I want to do the Big Four. You know what I mean?
I am on the boat with that because I'm going to SummerSlam next year in Toronto. It's different when you just want to check off the 4 off your bucket list, but like when you're just going to a regular Raw.
If it was No Mercy, I would not be spending my money. But every fan wants to say they've done the NXT Survivor Series, Raw, SmackDown, the 4-night deal, like just to get it off your bucket list. Like I did it once.
I get it.
I don't do that, but
they're taking our money from that too.
Yeah, but they're gonna sell out every night, And
my thing is that I mean, like, I get it, but I'm just not one of those fans that feels like I need to do that. I've been to WrestleMania now. Like, yeah, if there's a big pay-per-view in Nashville, I'll go. But honestly, I'm not putting my money into this shit anymore.
Yeah,
I don't care about it enough to do that.
Exactly.
Even if unless it's because I mean, hell, they even took our pay-per-view away from us for all this fucking to give it to all the foreign countries who are giving them money. So at this point, why do I really I don't care. They don't care about me.
That's another problem I have is that they're taking these pay-per-views and shows away from us and giving it to these people, and they're spending more time on those shows than the shows they do over here for us. Like the ending of Hell in a Cell was to build Super Showdown.
Yep.
Why?
Like, you know what? I'm okay with Australia, but the fact that they keep taking all this money from that stupid Saudi Arabia and all this fucking Middle Eastern countries is just ignorant. And what a slap in the face to the women, too. Hey, we're going to have a women's pay-per-view. But then, you know what? 4 days later, fuck all you guys. We're going to go take all the money from this country who hates on women. And because of their religion.
And I can tell you why they're getting all this foreign money is because on something you guys mentioned earlier, there is no more casual audience. How many numbers or how many viewers are on Raw now? About 2 million, right? They're about to hit the 2 million mark.
That's about the hardcore fan base of wrestling.
No, the Raw is how many network subscribers do they have? About 2 million. So there you go. Your people watching Raw are the people, your hardcore WWE fans. There's no more casual fan. The network has 2 million subscribers. Your ratings are at about 2 million. You're selling to your wrestling audience. There is no more casual audience, which is now why they have to go overseas. And I mean, I don't blame them. If you're gonna pay I hear Brock Lesnar's making $1 million for a match. So how much?
That's because they're making they're making in the multi-billions or multi-millions.
They're making $100 million. Why wouldn't you?
So you guys feel like they're sacrificing good product for money?
Yes, business-wise, I can't blame them for that. But this is an entertainment company, and if you're gonna not provide entertainment and yet take the money from people, then what's the point?
It's a double-edged sword. It's like we can sit here and be like, well, no one's watching, the product sucks, this and that. But if my business is making $100 million for one show, I don't give a shit what you say.
And I mean, I know
but if that's the case, then they just need to fucking then start doing everything overseas and just say fuck all of us. Because what's the point? We don't make any money for them. So I mean, to quit slapping us in the face, just fucking take it away from us already.
But look where it's heading. They have a solid 2 million people every year. I mean, every week, which is better than most TV shows. So why not just milk it? You have your solid 2 million on Monday, 2 million on Tuesday. You have your
Because why is
every
being
quarter,
average to below average okay with you just because you're making money? It's the same reason why I have a problem with any corporation that just makes money and yet continues to be asswipes about it.
because
Like, cool,
people
you got
still-
your fucking money. Congratulations. What more? What? You already had enough to make sure you didn't have to worry about money the rest of your life and your company. So really, what you're just doing it just for greed, which is what we've
So
all.
if you, I
as
mean,
a
if people,
species turn
if
to.
you wouldn't get paid, I mean, you wouldn't take it.
In the beginning, sure, but now at this point, no. I mean, like I'm okay, but I'm not the business. I'm not,
Uh-huh.
and I get what you're saying, and I'm not disagreeing business side, but as an entertainment thing, no, I don't. If my product sucks balls, and I continue to just keep fucking slapping people in the face with it, and then go around and take money from all these foreign governments just to fucking help their agenda. Then I would be considered an asswipe, and I should be called such.
I mean,
I 100% agree. I get it. Let's just say I'm Vince McMahon, correct? And I'm taking all this money and I'm slapping people in the face with a boring product. These people that I'm giving a boring product to are still giving me their money.
No, I know. Which
know what I
is,
mean?
I keep saying
It's
it's
like,
it's more it's
Give it to me. You can't
it's
have enough
both
money.
fault.
I don't care if you
It's
have.
both parties' fault.
Yeah.
I'm talking about in terms of the money, in terms of the grand scheme of
The
most
only
companies.
way
You know what I
that
mean?
it's gonna change. Yeah, the only way it's gonna change is if people like us that are getting slapped in the face with a bad product stop paying. And
Which, if
until
you
that
look at it, which in terms of, I'm sorry, I see the internet crowd bitch, but I also see just as much as the internet crowd talk about how great all the crap is too. So
yeah,
obviously,
you have to be watching a bit.
And that's
you wouldn't
the-
be bitching if you're not watching.
yeah.
and I mean, we could go into the whole NXT model and say, like, is that a success or is that a failure? Because people don't
it's
complain
not a
about it, but it's not making
Not
a
if
lot
they
of
lose-
money.
They lose.
Not a
They
success
lose
if
money.
you lose money.
Yeah, so that's the other side of the coin, right? They give us good product, but they don't make any money.
Well, it's a lot easier for them to give you a good product. They have an hour. They have a lot better talent range in terms of the fact that they're getting people from the outside that have outside experience most of the time. And if not, they don't really let their people on TV until they've been in the NXT developmental program for at least a couple years. So it's
Not-
different.
Not
It's
only
just
that,
different.
but the NXT marks are going in there thinking NXT can't do any wrong. So it's very easy to be like, "Oh, this show is amazing," when you're already set on nothing. They can't do anything wrong, and the main roster sucks.
Well, I think a lot of people do that, but it's honestly they prove that they're better. But it's because it's easier to be better in NXT than it is on the main roster. It's just that's fact.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. The wrestling is better, the storytelling is better, but again, like
On a
we were
grand
saying,
scheme of
on a
things.
grand scheme,
Yep.
if you're Vince McMahon and you're losing money on NXT and making literally billions with the main roster, I pretty sure I'm gonna
Well-
be happy, okay with whatever you got to say about the main roster.
I mean, to be real, most minor leagues are meant to lose money. They're there to develop. It's not
Yeah,
meant
it's a
to.
development.
It's not
It is what it
meant
is.
to make money. It's there literally. It's almost technically an expense because it's there to develop players. It's not supposed to really make money. I mean, if you look at minor league baseball, most minor league baseball teams don't make money.
They get
then the-
funded by the
don't-
major league
don't call
teams.
it- don't call
Yeah.
it- Don't call it developmental. It's its own league. No, it's a development. It is. It's doing
developmental.
exactly what it's supposed to do.
It's if it's under the WWE umbrella and people get called up, literally they call it being called up. If you're being called up, you're not being called over. You're being called up. Therefore, it's developmental. Sorry.
Although sometimes it might be better than what we're seeing on the so-called, the A league.
Right.
But
But because it's easier. Like I said, it's easier to be better on an hour-long show with a
That's
lot
not live.
in terms of talent. You know what I mean? The talent they have.
yep, and that's the other news I guess we should talk about. They moved 205 Live over to Wednesdays, an hour before NXT, but it's still being shown after SmackDown. Do you guys think they should have went the route of doing it live, or if it's not live, do it with NXT tapings, like move it
So
to
they're
Full
still
Sail?
calling it 205 Live, but it's not
Yeah.
live.
Yep. So it's live after Tuesdays, but they're just not showing it live after Tuesday nights. They're moving it to Wednesdays, an hour before NXT. Do you think they should be doing that show at Full Sail with NXT?
Yes. honestly, they should probably just get rid of 205 Live anyway. Why don't they just have a fucking featherweight belt or a cruiserweight belt in the main Raw? I don't understand.
Because they
I don't
never
get it.
they
Why
never
we have to have
used
this
it
whole thing?
like they it was
Well,
terrible
they
when
don't
they
really
did.
use it properly now either.
Yeah.
It's not like it really makes
That's a good
difference.
point. But some people out there say it would be better if NXT produced the cruiserweight show as opposed to SmackDown or Raw.
But the NXT only has an hour, and they're trying to put over the younger talent, not the middle-aged minor or mini guys. I mean, like, I like TJP, but isn't he like almost fucking 40?
He's in
Come
his
on
like
now.
mid-30s. But the thing is that apparently NXT has been having 205 Live matches on their live events. And next week, Tony Nese is facing Johnny Gargano on NXT.
Yeah, I saw that.
Well, I mean, what else are they gonna do? You know,
That's
I mean,
what I'm saying. Like, there
I'm not
really is
trying to
no
bash.
point.
I'm not trying to bash NXT or 205, but I mean, what else are you gonna do?
I
You
mean,
know,
I
They
guess
just
you could
botched this whole
combine.
situation. Honestly, what they should have done is just had a separate television show completely, have it be taped, run it off of the way they did the Cruiserweight Championship. Okay, we did the Cruiserweight tournament. Now for the next, we're going to take a month off, then we'll come, we'll just have the title defended and every couple events, big events. And then, maybe, we could put it on NXT and add another 30 minutes to the end of NXT and just, kind of do a little 205 thing. I mean, but I don't really understand. There's not really that much guys on there that impress me to the point to where they need a whole show.
Would you do like a UK type show where like they just kind of do it once in a while when there's something important going on?
Yeah, that would be better.
Just throw the 205 roster on NXT. I mean,
And they could
do
they
that
could
too.
make
I just don't-
NXT
I
2
don't-
hours if they really wanted to.
They could.
I mean, 90% of the NXT roster would fit on 205 Live, so I mean, why not? They're all. I mean, I'm not trying to talk crap, but they're all. I mean, the 205 guys are developmental too. It's not like there's any veterans on 205.
I disagree.
Kendrick, Brian Kendrick's
Kendrick,
on there.
TGP,
Oh, I mean, come on, I mean,
Buddy
Gallagher.
Murphy is pretty veteran.
I'm
There's a
talking
lot of
main-
veterans on
I'm
there.
talking main roster veteran. You know,
Yeah.
Who- I
Kalisto.
mean, besides,
Enzo
I mean,
was like the
really-
only one.
But I think, but I mean, like some of those guys could be. I mean, I think Drew Gulak could be a middle card talent, and then be all right. But I mean, yeah, no, a lot of them couldn't. But I don't think that's necessarily just because. I don't know.
Okay, so do we even want to talk about this whole Shield Roman Reigns Dean Ambrose thing that happened on Raw this week? Is there anything else anybody wants to add about that?
Nope.
I mean, what's new? Tell me what's new about it.
Well, Drew Gulak giving Dean ultimatums. Is he gonna like drag this out until like Survivor Series or what?
It's.
I don't know.
I mean, like we said earlier, even if Dean did turn at this point, who cares?
I
And are they
agree.
really gonna do it
They
again?
already missed the boat, so
Are they
yeah,
gonna
what does
take-
it really
Are
matter?
they
to me?
gonna take turns on each guy turning on the Shield every other year? Yeah. I mean, the only thing that could work, and I guess this is kind of what the how to book it segment is, you have Roman swerve everybody, and turn on those guys.
I
mean,
think
that
it
could
was a
work,
good
but-
idea, but they did it way too late. Like, it should have been done right away, and it would have been a lot better. That was one
Yeah,
thing that they should have jumped the gun on. Like they usually jump the gun on everything else, but this was something that they kind of needed to do right away. Was have Dean come back and do it. What's the point of having him do it now?
Yeah, I mean, my problem with the show is, you know what's gonna happen an hour and a half before, so why even watch it? Like I said, I fell asleep halfway through because I was like, Dean doesn't turn and the Shield wins. It's exactly what happened.
And then we had AOP and
Yeah.
Corbin team up. Why they didn't just have AOP go with Braun from the beginning just is beyond me.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know.
So I didn't
And they
even
still
get-
have a Rockstar Spud looking like
yeah,
well,
that too.
bring your child to work day. It's just weird. It's just weird. And he even
It
looks
just
worse.
doesn't-
With,
it-
Corbin's a big
Go
guy
ahead.
too.
Well,
It just looks.
doesn't even make it. It doesn't even really make any sense considering because I watched a sliver of 205 Live, And like you see Drake Maverick sit over there worried about these guys. Yet, oh, he's a heel manager. He's gonna screw people over. But now he's worried about it because it's his guys. I don't understand. I don't get it. Don't understand it whatsoever.
I guess that's the wrap up of Raw this week. I don't get it. I think that's the perfect way to sum it up.
Yeah.
And
Wait, before we wrap up Raw, what else is there to talk about? Like my question is, what's there to talk about Raw?
nothing. Like I don't like anything else that's going on right now. Realistically, like you have
I'm gonna be real. I don't remember anything else about it. So
you had
it
Bobby
obviously wasn't
Lashley
good
versus
enough.
Elias with okay. I like
Rinse and repeat.
I do like Leo Rush being with Bobby Lashley. I think that's a cool manager pairing. But like, where
It
are they
is, but
going
they're
from
wasting
there?
Lashley too.
Yeah, because Lashley still wants his match with Brock, which he never got. and I doubt he ever
where the
will.
hell's Cena?
Oh,
In Shanghai, whatever, filming a movie.
You know what I mean? Like, isn't there a super show they have to be promoting? Where is he?
we got nothing out of that Kevin Owens quitting Raw thing, by the way, because now he's back and doing the Kevin Owens show.
Yeah, that was another useless thing too. Just makes this just. I'm telling you, like, they literally just think of shit on a whim and just do it because they can't sit down. Like, why are they not planning this stuff out like a month ahead of time just to make sure, instead of doing this shit on a whim and then we'll just do that. We don't have time to think of anything else. Yeah, God, you guys are just—they're all dumb. They're
Yeah.
all fucking dumb.
We wasted too much time talking about this show. It doesn't even deserve
Yeah.
that long to talk
All right,
about.
before we get into SmackDown,
Don't do it.
What is that?
All right, come on.
7-second dance break. 7-second dance break.
I don't think we should ever have a dance break ever again in the show. And I'm going to forbid you from doing that ever again. Anyways, we're going to move into SmackDown. And what do you guys think of this whole Truth TV thing with the new Carmella with the new hair?
Well, apparently I love it because
Make a lot of
I'm
sense.
all up for 7-second dance breaks.
Right. Ty, what do you think of this R Truth TV segment?
Just doesn't make a whole lot of. I mean, I'm cool. It's cool that Truth's getting a push. He deserves some kind of something, but it's doesn't make a whole lot of sense either.
They banned Miz from ever talking on his show, which I kind of found funny. But I don't know. Like I said, I'm happy that Truth is kind of getting noticed again because he's very underappreciated for how good he is, how versatile he can be. But he ended up losing to Miz anyway. And Miz reclaimed his Miz TV. So, I mean, it was okay. Like, fuck that. That was probably better than anything that happened on Raw, which is sad. But we had that. We all know what the best thing about it was. But does anybody else have anything else to talk about besides the WWE title match they want to go over that stood out to them?
The 7-second dance break.
No, there will be no 7-second dance break ever again. Ty, what was there anything else you want to talk about before we talk about the Styles and Joe feud? No? I think Ty's gone.
I think he's on a 7-second dance break.
I don't know where he
Ty?
is. There he is. Okay. Ty, you there? I don't know what happened to Ty. Well,
Yeah.
we'll just
I mean, the
continue
Becky
on.
Lynch thing was cool. The whole, jumping her, taking a photo, take my photo. That was that, and the AJ Styles thing was pretty much the only thing SmackDown had going for it. Like I've said before, the only difference between what I see on Raw and SmackDown is SmackDown's trying. It might not be the greatest thing. It might not be the A show. They might say Raw is, but SmackDown feels like they're the little engine that could, I guess, for lack of better analogies. They're trying, and they're trying new things. Like you just said, R-Truth is opening SmackDown. When the hell was the last time you saw R-Truth open SmackDown, let alone be on SmackDown? It's not happening on Raw, that's for sure.
I give them props for trying new things on SmackDown lately. Now, I don't know how long they're going to keep up with this, because we saw SmackDown was better coming out of the brand split, and then it just got shitty all of a sudden. So I don't know when it's going to... I'm kind of scared that it's going to go back to what it was before, where nobody gave a shit about it anymore.
Yeah, well, the thing that happens is people start watching SmackDown and loving SmackDown, and they just put the kibosh on it right away. They'll start trading people. They'll start messing with storyline. It's just like, let SmackDown be its own thing, especially with the whole Fox Sports thing going down, stuff like that. Like, they're going to have to start competing. And it feels like SmackDown's getting a head start on that, because not only are they trying, but they're committing to the effort. Raw will try something, and we'll get something refreshing from Raw every 2-3 weeks. Like you said, the whole Kevin Owens, I quit. All right, cool. Let's see where this goes. Next week, it's not even addressed. It's like, all right, with SmackDown, at least they're throwing stuff, seeing what sticks, and committing. And it shows, because it's a little bit more of an enjoyable show.
Hello?
There he is. Finally hear you again.
I don't know what the fuck happened there. It's like my controller or my mic died, and then all of a sudden it just wouldn't start working again.
Okay. Well, we were just talking about how SmackDown's at least trying new things with their storylines.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, it looks a hell of a lot better than Raw right now, which is not hard, but it makes it look. That's what I mean. It's making SmackDown look better than it might be, but it's still at least a watchable show for the most part. There's some parts where it's still terrible, but giving new guys opportunities. Like, you look at this week, we had Dillinger on TV. He faced Nakamura, but then it was interrupted by Randy Orton, who just started beating the shit out of Dillinger.
Well, that's one of the few things that I actually liked about stuff this week. I like that Randy Orton's going around just beating the shit out of people.
I love the heel Randy Orton. I think it's one of the best things going for them.
I think he needs to continue to do that. I think he should do it for random matches. Anybody that's fucking out there, all of a sudden Randy Orton comes out, fucking RKO's their ass, beats the shit out of them, and then he just leaves, doesn't say a word. That says more than anything he could say.
And I think the thing that makes SmackDown more enjoyable and stand out is the fact that there's multiple storylines running throughout the show. Like you just said, there's Randy Orton just running amok. There's Samoa Joe showing up to rape AJ Styles' wife. There's R-Truth running around being an idiot. It's just your
buddy Vince Russo would probably book that rape fantasy.
Becky Lynch, they even did a backstage statement. She didn't even go in the ring. It was just Becky Lynch beating up on Charlotte in the back. Raw is one storyline, and that's it.
All mixed into one.
Yeah, and they're all mixed into exactly every single title is mixed into a 6-man tag match, and SmackDown is just there's running stories throughout the whole show. Raw, it has the opening segment of your Roman experiment, then there's an hour and a half of filler, then there's a backstage Roman segment, and then there's your Roman main event. That's why you turn it off halfway through, because you know exactly what's going to happen. SmackDown, at least
it's so predictable. It's just so fucking like, if I can book the shit without even thinking about it, it's pretty sad. I can book the shit without even really thinking about it and book it better than they can, and that's even more sad.
Yeah,
it's frustrating. It's very frustrating.
SmackDown is the show that would be able to hold a general audience or a casual audience, because there's storylines, and that's what audiences care about.
Honestly, too, I'm gonna be real with you guys. I think this is the start of SmackDown becoming the #1 show. Now that it's going to Fox, I think they're gonna take over. They already kind of have. But now that they're gonna go get more viewership on Fox, they'll be the #1 show. Raw will be useless in about a year or two.
That's exactly what I just said when you were on your.
When I was gone. I
dance break. No, I literally said, like, it feels like SmackDown's getting a head start on the fact that they know they're going to have competition. They're going to be on Fox Sports. They have to step up. So why not start now, build those habits, and by the time you're on Fox Sports, people are already going to be talking about it, and then you'll just double your viewership by the time you end up on Fox.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably a good idea, to be honest. I mean, they're getting a huge TV deal from Fox, so it would just make sense. But then that's the thing, like, are they going to make it Raw-esque, where it's just garbage because are they going to switch it over?
I just think it's so sad in the world of TV nowadays that like 2 million viewers gets you multi-billion-dollar TV contracts. Yeah, it's on a consistent basis, which is why they're getting it. But it's like, good lord, it's 2 million people. That's not even anything.
And I don't really think it's the viewership that Fox is paying for, because if that was the case, it's
I mean,
not.
it has to be. It's about
I think it's more. I honestly think it's more of a social media thing. How many hundreds of millions of followers does WWE have? You know, John Cena, the Bella Twins, blah blah blah. And if these people start tweeting, blah blah blah, we're on Fox, etc., it's gonna help Fox.
Yeah, people are gonna watch Fox, which is about ratings.
Yeah. So, I think it's more of a social media type of deal. Where, well, I mean, it's gonna lead to ratings, but they're not paying for ratings.
But that's the whole point. They're literally they're paying for it to get more ratings. That was
and probably good publicity too, obviously.
Well, good publicity to get more ratings. They want that's all any TV people want, is to make more money, to get more people to watch it, which in turn makes them more money. Because in that way, more advertisers will want to work with them.
And I think Fox is trying to head toward more of a sports network, because like today is the first Thursday night football on Fox. You know, so they have football, they have baseball, they have college. Like they had the UFC.
They're trying to be well-rounded. They are trying to be well-rounded, which I appreciate.
Yeah, your boy Rams are up 38-28 right now.
No, I'm watching right here on the side.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
I will say I agree with Bryan.
That was going to be a big fucking surprise.
I agree with Bryan when you were gone that Becky Lynch attacking Charlotte in that photo shoot was a pretty good part of SmackDown.
It would be really great if Becky Lynch was getting fucking booed.
Yeah, that's also part of the issue that the people are cheering her for.
I can't get into it. It's cool what Becky's doing, but it really doesn't matter. She's getting cheered, so why don't I? She's not a heel. She's just doing shit to get a fucking to get a reaction. I know it is, but that in turn makes me not want to appreciate their work more. I mean, when the fans hijack it and take the shit over, it makes me really not care about it anymore.
Tyler,
yeah, because the minute Charlotte turns heel and says, "Why fuck you guys? I'm teaming with Becky," then they're gonna cheer her. So it's like it's
yeah.
It's the fans' fault, you know?
Yeah, it is. It is.
What did you guys think of the whole Rusev and Aiden English feud? Do you guys even see this as a good feud? Because I don't know how Aiden English can even compare to Rusev, but
well, in my booking segment, I'll tell you about how I would book that and make it 1 billion times better. So okay. I'll get to it when I do that.
And apparently, One Night in Milwaukee coming soon to Pornhub. Apparently, but
I bet it does more viewers than Raw.
Aiden English, Mike dropped his promo by saying, "Are you going to tell Rusev about that one night in Milwaukee?" So
well, I don't know what Rusev's tripping about. I mean, wasn't Lana gonna fuck Enzo in a hotel like last year? Then she was fucking Dolph Ziggler, and then she fucked The Rock. So you know what? It's probably been one night in Milwaukee, one night.
All right.
This shouldn't be a surprise for him. It's probably why he wasn't even mad whenever English said anything. Just like, whatever.
And I'm gonna give a shout out to Dillinger for being on TV this week. I'm happy that he's actually on TV.
Yep.
He was in a match with Nakamura.
That cock.
Yep.
That under-talented guy. No, he's good. He just doesn't. He'll never get pushed because he has no personality, really.
Yep, he just got a 10. That's about it.
Yeah, that's lame too.
And then we'll end off SmackDown with obviously what everybody wants to talk about, and that's Samoa Joe and the whole AJ Styles, house invasion angle that they had, and leaving us on a cliffhanger. Ty, I'll let you go first on this one.
Oh, I love this shit. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. Love it!
Do you like how they ended with...
This is what wrestling should be. Involving personal shit to make people really, really fucking think whether or not, damn, these people fucking really might be mad at... Holy shit, Joe's at his fucking house right now? Holy shit. Like, that's good... can't call it booking. Good writing.
Now, would you have ended it on the cliffhanger, or would you have shown the whole house invasion before SmackDown went off the air?
I don't think Joe should go in the house anyway. I don't think they should show that, think that he's going to do that or anything.
So you wouldn't even bother showing anything after that?
No, because then you're getting into okay, now, and if this was real life, she would call the police and Joe would get shot and murdered. So no, we need to stop.
I was kind of happy they stopped it at where it was, to be honest. I know people were going to shit all over it that, oh, why didn't they show what was in there? I don't even think it needed it. I think it did it justice enough. I think we already got the whole point of it.
The point is not to really fucking make people think that Joe is really gonna fucking do anything to hurt AJ's family. It's all a fucking head game for Joe. He's not really doing this shit. He just wants the title. He doesn't want fucking AJ's family. He's got his own fucking family.
Yeah.
So he's literally doing this just to get in his head. So the more, which it's cool that people are thinking that, because that's the whole point of it. That means that they're doing something right. That people are like, oh, he should have went there and should have did this. It's like, well, not really, because that's not the point of it. But it's cool that you're thinking that, because now we're putting some disbelief in it, making people think.
Bryan, you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I agree. Well, you know what? It would have been cool for next week for them to go in the house and, you know, Joe's shitting on top of AJ's desk or something like that. That would have been awesome. But I think if they go the whole
that just sounds stupid.
The whole mind games thing, just like when Austin did the gun with the bang, you know, it was Austin more playing the mind games. So I would go with AJ just freaking out week after week. Did he go in my house? This and that, and Joe just kind of brushing it off, like, I don't know, did I? Maybe. Who knows?
Okay, but if they showed it, that takes away all the mystery. So
I'm saying no. I just said that. I just said that would have been cool. But I'm saying what I think is gonna happen is, you know, or that's what I want to happen is Joe just to, did I go in? Did I not go in? I think that's a better, and that helps you drag the feud on a little more than just seeing what happened. Also, everyone is loving this. This is what everyone's talking about from both shows. Not a 5-star match in the feud. They haven't even been in the ring together in the last month.
It doesn't need to have a 5-star. It doesn't need to have a 5-star match. Exactly.
This is exactly what is missing.
I think it's funny, people bitch about the work rate, and I'm like, you know, the work rate of the wrestlers is better than it's ever been, but the storytelling is the worst it's ever been. Yeah, you know, man, like, if you look at wrestling back in the day, the storylines were just 10 times better than anything they put out today, but the work rate was not near as good. So imagine if we could take that and combine it with the work rate, we could have something really special. But because fans would rather fucking bitch about the work rate, even though it's better than it's ever been, and instead of thinking about the storylines, that's always going to be the problem.
Yeah, I think this is a perfect example that it still could be done when the time and effort is put into it.
100%.
Bryan, you were going to say something?
No, I'm just agreeing. You know, I 100% agree. Probably the greatest era of athletes on any roster across the board, but that doesn't matter when there's no storytelling and no one's watching.
Yep.
You know, I'll take storytelling over a 5-star match any day.
I could not give a shit if somebody has a good match or not, because let me tell you something. I watch old school wrestling, you know, 70s and 80s wrestling, where 90% of those guys didn't even go to a wrestling school. They taught themselves how, and they did their shit. But you know what was the best? They weren't told what to do. They went out there and they fucking did the shit that came off the top of their mind, and it usually was great because they were all fucking weird and crazy, and they all could come up with this weird, crazy shit that
give
would
themselves
work.
Creativity.
Yes, and now we've cut all creative freedom from the, and we call them sports entertainer, yet that we don't allow them to entertain. So we're allowing them to do the work. It's more of a sport than a fucking entertainment nowadays.
If they wouldn't make them sound so, if they wouldn't make them sound so robotic and scripted, it would be a lot better.
Yeah, I've always
100% better.
I've always asked the question. Go back and think. Name me a great match.
Right. I remember us talking about that last week.
And it's like, you know,
or the week before.
You know, people say, you know, Shawn Taker, Triple H Taker, Rock, Hogan, etc., etc. It's like, yeah, those matches sucked. What you remember is the moment. You know, you remember Mick
the
Foley
booking and
flying off
storytelling leading up to that, right? Or them putting a moment into the match and leading on from something else.
Exactly. You know, you remember Foley coming back from flying off the Hell in a Cell. You remember, it's the story. Who cares about a 5-star match? Name me one. I mean, a 5-star match. I don't know.
Revival and Gargano and Ciampa, I think, would be the closest one for me.
What was the point of that match?
Because it
The
was
storytelling.
the storytelling. That's right.
They were trying to grab each other in the middle of the ring. That's what you remember.
Yeah, you can have a 5-star
name it.
match, but if it has no story behind it, what's the point?
Give me a set of moves in that match.
It's like I always say, you want people to leave thinking about the person, you as a person, not about what you did. Because if you think about it this way, if a person leaves a wrestling match going, damn, did you see that motherfucker fly off that top rope and almost kill himself? Yeah, man, that was crazy. Don't remember his name, but that was a crazy move. Like, cool, you got them to remember the move, but they don't know who the fuck you are.
Yeah, exactly.
So
And
what
like
does
I
it
said,
matter?
name me a sequence of moves in that Gargano match.
The only thing I remember is the moment of them both grabbing each other and saying, "Don't tap," and then they both tapped. I couldn't relive like 5 or 6 spots that happened. I don't think I could do that.
No, and that proves it. You're not
You
5-star
cannot
matches.
have a good match without good storytelling. You can't. It's impossible.
And I think that's what we've gotten away from. Like we keep going back to this point is that, you can have a 5-star match, but if no one's invested, it doesn't matter. Or you can have good storytelling and not need to kill each other with this so-called 5-star indie match, and it would still be a good match.
And what's gonna make the Joe Styles match a 5-star match, the next match, is the fact that you're invested in the storyline.
Yup.
Now you know why they're gonna beat the shit out of each other. Now
And you
know
actually
why they hate each other.
want Styles to go over on Joe because of what he did, right?
Exactly.
And you know what, guys? I would put money on it that they're letting AJ and Joe kind of do their own thing with this, which is why it's so good.
I wouldn't doubt it.
And that's why it's so much better and head and shoulders above beyond everybody, because it's 2 guys who have been in the business for 15 plus years, know what they're doing, know how to draw and react to a crowd, and they're doing it. It's not hard. Really not hard.
Again, it's one example of what they could be doing from top to bottom, but they choose not to. It's definitely a shining star for this show for sure. So I guess that's going to be it for what we're going to review. So do you guys want to jump into the how to book segment?
Sure.
All right. I don't have a theme song for it or anything. So
I can get my dance music.
no, the dance music is banned from the Lowdown show from now on. I'm sorry. I'm throwing the corporate foot down on this one. There will be no more dance music.
I appreciate that.
We're talking about the dance breaks. We're not talking about any matches.
Okay, that's enough.
But it's not. But you could talk about things for the wrong reasons. That wasn't good. It was different, but it wasn't good.
It was to you. It wasn't good.
See,
to
Brian,
you.
look, karma.
It wasn't good to any. It shouldn't be good to any adult. That was just stupid.
Brian, that was karma. I think. Oh no, Minnesota didn't recover the fumble. Anyways, so what we did for the how to book segment is I'm just gonna go brief overview for the listeners out there. We're gonna start from Hell in a Cell, which is last week, and we're gonna book all the way up to, let's just say, Survivor Series, since that's the next pay-per-view, for certain matches or certain titles. So we each got assigned certain titles, and we're gonna talk about how we would book the feud all the way up from Hell in a Cell to Survivor Series. So, Brian, I'll let you go first with your first title. Do you remember what that title was?
I do not.
You do not. I believe you had the Universal title.
The Universal title?
Yep.
Well, like I said earlier, people are going to hate, but why take it off Brock if it's just going to be on a champion that's not defending it? Roman's whole thing was, I'm a defending champion, blah, 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 blah. I would have just kept it on Brock. I mean, they're not doing anything with it. What are you doing with it?
So then how would you book it leading up to Survivor Series?
Leading up to Survivor Series.
Well, would you have had him appear at Hell in a Cell?
Yes. I would have had him appear. You know what? Have him appear. Have him do the same thing. See, but then we're taking out the title match from Survivor Series. Because I was going to say, have him come and just have him keep destroying number 1 contender matches. And then have a team. I would have, and it's going to sound ridiculous, See, but I'm taking away the title match from Survivor Series. I'm putting Brock in a team match, but I don't want to do that. No, it's just I don't know. This Universal Pictures, it's weird. It's very weird. You know what? Forget it. I'm scrapping it. Just to make our boss Kyle Masters happy, I'm putting the belt on Finn Balor. Letting him beat everyone. He's gonna be Smiley Finn for the rest of the year, and he'll win the tag team titles with Bailey at Women's Evolution. That's how I'm
Okay.
booking
Well,
the,
next time you're gonna do a lot better research for that because that was terrible.
I mean, I don't know what to do with it. What do you do with it? Roman's not doing anything with it. I mean, the Roman experiment's gonna keep going.
Okay, move on to the IC title if you want to talk about that title.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Hello?
Yep.
All right, the IC title. The thing is, I want to split up the Shield. I don't like this whole Shield just to put Roman over thing. I would have left it on Seth and done the heel turn for Dean Ambrose off the bat. And there's your IC bout or your IC feud all the way to Survivor Series. They're not doing anything with it, just like the Universal title. The Shield doesn't need to be together. They're not getting Roman over anymore. Rollins was doing really good with it. I mean, the whole feud with Ziggler. I like the feud with Ziggler, but it was getting old. I think you have, like I said at the what show was that where he backed up Rollins, where he won it from Ziggler.
Oh, SummerSlam.
Was it SummerSlam?
Yep.
Have the feud right there, right off the bat, because it was about a week from his debut, right, or
Yep.
his return. Have it off the bat. Have it off the bat. You have a couple months of a build all the way to Survivor Series, and then you build Dean as the next monster heel with the bout after Survivor Series. And they've been saying they want to do the triple threat at Mania for with the Shield for the bout. You can go that way. You finally build Dean Ambrose. I mean, I know he's been heavyweight champion before, but it was a botched run. But this time he looks good. He looked fresh. He looked huge when he came back. Have him run with that belt for a little bit. You have Rollins chasing them, and then you can do the triple threat at WrestleMania once you built Dean with the IC belt. Because to me, Dean isn't a main event guy yet. It's just weird saying that because he's been a champion, but he's not. He's not a main event guy. You build him with the IC title. You have him drop it a little bit before Mania, and then you have your triple threat with the Shield at Mania with Roman. Roman's holding the belt to Mania. I'm sorry,
but at least until Survivor Series, would you have Dean win the belt from Rollins?
You put him over at Survivor Series.
Okay.
You have the feud for a couple months with Rollins, and you put him over at Survivor Series, and you go from there.
Okay. And your last title was the SmackDown Tag Team titles, if you have anything good to say as far as that.
I mean, I would have loved to see Sanity. What happened to those guys?
Yeah, like this whole New Day thing.
I mean, this whole New Day thing is... I mean, we love to bash New Day, but they do put on great matches when they have to. But it's old. Why not have Sanity have a run with the belt? Give me Sanity versus the Bar.
New Day needs to go away for a while. How am I supposed to miss you if you won't go away?
Especially if they just keep giving them the titles too, right?
Well, they can't have different feuds. It's like either the Bar or what's their nuts, Usos. We've all seen that a billion times.
Again, I think Sanity should be inputted in that somewhere.
Oh,
well, it was easy because they had Sanity and they had 2 tournaments for the tag team belts in the last 2 months. Sanity was in both. That could have been the easy way to get them the belt. They don't even have to do a storyline. They won the tournament.
But no, we have to keep doing this Usos and New Day thing, which we've seen 100 times already. But I think that's the problem, is that they have too many heel tag. Like, they have the Bar as the heel and Sanity as the heel, so you never see those two go at it for the titles. I think you had the Bludgeon Brothers hold the titles, but that was because Eric Rowan got hurt, and I think they would have had a lot longer of a run if he didn't get hurt. So that also didn't help.
Yeah, and if you want to go crazy super booking with it, you can have a Sanity Bludgeon Brothers feud if Rowan wasn't hurt, and have them go back and forth, until Bray Wyatt just magically appears on SmackDown and makes the Bludgeon Brothers the Wyatts again. You know, it's just, you can do stuff like that because, I mean, it's wrestling. Who cares? You know, they haven't explained to us why Brie Bella's on both shows, so Bray Wyatt can go on both shows. It's just,
Agreed.
SmackDown is their tag team division. I mean, I guess Raw's tag team division sucks too, but it's just, it's boring. So why not just put it on Sanity? Give me something fresh. You know, I've seen the Bar with the titles. I've seen the Usos. I've seen everyone on SmackDown with the titles except for Sanity. Just give me something fresh.
Agreed. All right, Ty, you can start with your first title, whatever one you want.
All right. So I'll go ahead and start with the U.S. title. I had the U.S., the WWE, and the Raw belts. So I will go ahead. The current champion is Shinsuke. My plan, I technically did this till Super Showdown because I didn't know we were just skipping those. But I mean, you could do this till SummerSlam too. I'm kind of doing it by week by week.
I don't really
so
care
we
what
can
you
kinda
do. I
keep
just
up the
kind of
booking thing.
Yeah.
No, I know. Well, I'm kind of doing it. You know, I did this for the first week, but you could technically do it for the first or second. Really doesn't matter. So what I'm doing is I'm pushing Rusev for the U.S. title. And I know we've done it again, and that's kind of like picking out the hand out of the old cookie jar, but I feel like this could be done very, very well with him and Shinsuke. I think those two they're different styles, but it could work in the way that, because it's so different, it can work. So basically, I have Shinsuke come out, talk about how he hasn't had a match in a while, and basically he's trying to be bad and talking shit about everybody and saying that he can take on anybody, which Shinsuke can't really talk, so it would be very hard in that sense. But, you know, he would mumble it out. Rusev, basically then Shinsuke says, I want to do an open challenge like everybody else does. You know, I can be a top U.S. champion. Rusev comes out and accepts. Shin basically tries to cheat. Rusev catches him. English helps Shinsuke cheat and win. Basically, that will start the split between English and Rusev, because I don't think Rusev needs English anyway, and I don't really want English to be on TV anymore, but I found a way to make it work for English. So basically, in this sense, English would become Shinsuke's mouthpiece after this. Tone down the whole opera thing and just make him be a shit talker extraordinaire. Just shit talk, shit talk, shit talk, shit talk. And, you know, talk for Shinsuke and be the mouthpiece and say, this is what he's going to do, and we're going to blah, 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 you know, all this different shit. So English is not taken off TV completely. I don't want him on there all the time. But he could totally be a decent representative for Shinsuke in terms of that. Because the man can actually talk and cut a promo. Not great, but he can cut a promo. Something that Shinsuke can't do. So, in my opinion, if you're going to be a champion holder, you got to have somebody that can fucking talk for you. If you can't talk for yourself. So basically that happens, and then don't forget about Orton either. That's coming up maybe next week or whatever, my next thing. What I kind of want to do with that is Orton's going to end up going after it down the road, but I want Orton to just beat the fuck out of anybody on the roster, like I was saying. I want him to come out, interfere in almost every match, maybe not every week, maybe once every, you know, maybe switch it up, do it 1 week, and then skip 2 weeks, let him come out and beat the shit out of somebody else. You know, 1 week do a vignette, whatever. You know, that way we don't forget Orton, but he's not there all the time.
Okay.
So that's kind of my first little couple weeks of the U.S. belt. For the WWE title, oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, like, I guess we won't book it all the way up to Survivor Series, and we'll just do it kind of every other week.
Well, I figure if we do it all tonight, we're not gonna be able to do it on other shows. So I'm kind of trying to build it like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess we could just talk
So we
about a
don't get it all
couple
out at
weeks
once.
worth. Yeah, that makes sense.
So for the WWE title, AJ is obviously the current champ, and I am not changing much on this shit at all. Really don't need to. Keep cutting promos on each other and vignettes and run-ins. I obviously did this before the whole Joe promo this week, which I think fit in perfectly with what I want. Have Joe come in, keep talking all this shit, making AJ go crazy. I want Joe to eventually be the title holder, and I don't give a shit if AJ is on the cover of a video game or not. Rollins wasn't the champion when he was on the cover, so I really don't think that makes a difference. But basically just have AJ come out after the Hell in a Cell and say, you know what, yeah, ref's decision stands, and then talk about karma, saying if Joe wasn't fucking around and being such a douche, maybe maybe the ref would have caught it. And then have, Joe come out, cut a promo like he did this week with the video thing. You just keep doing that back and forth. Don't even need Joe on TV every week. Don't need AJ on TV every week. That feud can keep going for months and months and months and months and months without having them on TV all the time. So I'm really not changing much with that one. Raw belts, with what they've given me after Hell in a Cell, I'm honestly at this point, I'm going to keep them on McIntyre and Ziggler. I'm breaking them apart from Braun because that's just stupid. Basically, I'm going to let them in the Shield feud for right now. But after Rollins and I'm going to let Rollins and Dean win at the Super Showdown, win the belts at Super Showdown. Basically, I want Revival to come out after that match and beat the living shit out of Rollins and Dean. Just go full-blown heel, beat the fuck out of them. Leave them in a fucking trash can. And start a feud to that, start building up with that, kind of in a Randy Orton-esque, where I was kind of talking about where him beating the shit out. Like, basically, the Revival's so pissed off that they're not getting the respect and opportunity they deserve, that they're just going to start beating the fuck out of everybody. So they start off with the champions, and then if they don't get the title shot, they'll go down and get, basically keep coming back to that until they get their shot. Kind of like an old school, the way they did with Edge and Christian at first, where Edge and Christian had the titles and then kept screwing everybody over. But I'm kind of doing it where they don't have the titles, but they're going to screw everybody over until they get the titles, basically.
Kind of like what Orton's doing.
In a way, a little different, but in a way. Because I think that but with the Revival, you could have them on TV every week because they're two guys, so they can sit there and beat the shit out. One could beat the shit out of somebody else. One could beat the shit out of somebody else. And then when they could come out, take on one whole tag team in a mid-match. I think we need more run-ins and shit. We don't really do that anymore.
No, we just have the whole roster stop two guys from fighting.
So you know what, mid-match, and maybe don't even have Dean and Rollins win at the Super Showdown or whatever. Have the Revival come out mid-match, beat the shit out of fucking both teams because they're so mad they're gonna beat the fuck out of McIntyre, Ziggler, and the Shield. So you know what? Fine, that's okay with me. And then continue to have Ziggler and McIntyre's title holder for a little while. I don't think they're bad champions. I think it's stupid, but the way that they've kind of backed us into a corner with that one, it's kind of like, what else am I gonna do? Because I tried to base mine off what they gave us. So it's kind of like I'm coming in as the new booker after they just fired the whole fucking stupid sitcom writing team.
Starting from Hell in a Cell, kind of
Starting from Hell in a Cell.
Okay. And then you had the U.S. title for Smackdown.
Yeah, I already said that, remember?
Oh, yeah,
Okay,
the Orton
Rusev.
thing. Yeah. And then you already went over the Joe thing. All right, perfect. Do you have anything else to add about that?
No, not right now.
The Joe and AJ thing. Do you have that going? But you have them have a match at Super Showdown, or would you not? Even bother?
Honestly, I would not have maybe done what Paige and all them did and immediately give Joe a rematch. I'd kind of be like, look, man, yeah, ref missed it, but that's just part of sports. Refs are gonna miss things, and you know what? You had your opportunity. You're going to have to go to the back of the line now and start having AJ feud with somebody else, but then have Joe come in and cut those promos to get back in his head, cut those vignettes, come in and beat the shit out of him in mid-match, and keep fucking with it in that instance. Kind of like, I know it kind of sounds the same as the Revival, and it kind of does. And maybe I would change the Revival thing around, but then again, that's on Raw, so you could kind of do it somewhat the same.
No, that's the thing. Would you suspend Joe but still have him doing these vignettes?
Okay, if I was doing it in the sense that I moved on from Joe after Hell in a Cell, I would say after Joe, first time he goes out and interrupts AJ's match, beats the shit out of him, I would suspend him, but I would have Joe come out of the crowd after a couple weeks. And then, okay, man, we're going to suspend you again. And then he comes back on promos and vignettes and starts getting in AJ's head with his house thing, saying, if I can't be there, then you know what? I'll be here and I'll get you just the same way. Except maybe worse because I'm in your head.
That sounds fantastic. I love that. That to me would just blow away anything else going on in whatever.
And you could keep that going because you could say, Joe, we're suspending you for a month, man. And you could just have Joe disappear. Like I said, how am I going to miss you if you won't go away? So if you have Joe go away for a little bit, you kind of start forgetting about that. And the way fans go now, they're going to suck AJ's cock no matter who he's fighting. So just have him fucking feud against somebody else. Have him feud against Orton for a while. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
and then have Joe come in, beat the shit out of him, and then then you could create a storyline where Joe or Orton's getting mad because he's the one that's supposed to be fucking everybody up, and then Joe's fucking AJ up, so he gets pissed off, and then that could create a whole where you basically have a
triple threat.
A triple threat at one point. I kind of wanted to do that with the U.S. title though, but that's just an obvious example. With
that could work too. I mean, you could do it both ways.
You see, with the U.S. title, I wanted to end up with a triple threat between Rusev, Shinsuke, and Orton. That's kind of where I wanted to end up at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I mean that's good too. But Orton, I feel like you could have him go for the mid card title, but he could also go for the WWE title too with what he's doing.
Right, and what I'm saying, and basically what I mean, and maybe you could fit that in with both ways in the sense of if Orton immediately goes after AJ, but then Joe comes in and fucks with him, and then you could kind of spin off and have a short little feud where Joe basically is like, dude, I'm bigger and better than you, Orton. You're old. You're out of here. I'll relegate you to the damn U.S. title and basically does it, and then have Orton go to fight the triple threat match there. So, you could go with that in a couple different directions.
Well, I don't know if you guys remember a couple of shows ago, I even mentioned building Orton's whole, New Day Legend Killer to end up feuding with AJ for the title.
Yeah.
It's easy. It's already there.
It is very easy. It's very easy.
I think with Orton's momentum, I mean, I think it's impossible to hold him down.
And see, that's why what I was saying was I would kind of let Orton go for the mid-card title this year, let him win the U.S. title at WrestleMania towards the end after he kind of does the whole thing with Rusev and Shinsuke, and then you have him come out next year fresh and say, basically, look what I did. I took that U.S. title. I did this. I'm back. I'm back to being the Legend Killer Randy Orton. I'm coming for all of your fan favorites. I already took out Hardy. I took out Shinsuke. I took out Rusev. I'm coming after AJ. I'm coming after Finn. I'm coming after all these guys. Yeah. Anybody that you guys cheer for, I'm going to murder him.
I mean, it would make sense. But the only thing is you have two monster heels right now in Joe and Orton, so it's like, which one gets the upper hand, right?
That almost is like a year and a half, 2 years down the road. So I mean, you could technically, you would have to do some changing around. By that point, Joe could be a face,
or he could just get moved to a different brand or something.
That too. I would put Joe honestly on Raw after this year, but that's me.
I have no problem with Orton versus Styles at Mania.
If we're getting this Randy Orton,
I think it should be next year. I still think it should be Joe AJ for at WrestleMania. I think they rushed everything too fast, but I still think it would be really good if you built it up properly.
I think SmackDown for Mania we're getting Miz and Bryan.
Yeah, I know, which is stupid because we've already seen this a billion times in the past month. So why do I care?
I agree. So we'll move on to mine, and call me, generic, but my women's title ones, are pretty straightforward. I mean, I think it's pretty obvious what they should have done. And I mean, you said you were only going from Hell in a Cell, but I'm going to say that Alexa shouldn't have lost the title in the first place at SummerSlam, like for the Raw Women's title. I mean, to me, I don't think Ronda needed to win it yet. Like, I don't know what point was putting it on Ronda other than the fact that for this whole Women's Evolution pay-per-view, I don't understand giving her the title already, because it's like, what's she going to hold on to the title from now until WrestleMania? By that point, people are going to be turning on Ronda.
Yeah. Was she even on Raw?
Yeah, she was.
Yeah, she was.
Yeah.
But I think at some point you would have had for me, like, I guess from what I'm booking it as is that Alexa's still champion at a SummerSlam, and then I would have had this match again at Hell in a Cell, but as Alexa as champion, not Ronda.
And I would have had Alexa beat Ronda at Hell in a Cell?
Like, I would have had her get a cheap win somehow. Maybe, I don't know.
I could see it. I was going to say, I could see a DQ. My thing is Ronda can't lose.
Yeah.
There's no way. She can't lose.
Well, I mean, we said the same thing about Shayna Baszler, and she lost to Kairi Sane, which made no sense.
Well, they fucked that up too, but that wasn't right to do.
I guess maybe a DQ would be probably the better way to go about it with Alexa.
Honestly, I was gonna say they should have just kept going with the fucking Nia Jax thing. Like they died that off too. They should have just kept Alexa
not on
that
TV
thing
for whatever reason.
I know.
At Hell in a Cell, though, honestly, what I would have done is that Alexa versus Ronda, I would have had Natty turn on Ronda at that point.
So then Ronda's got something to do and we don't have to
Yep.
worry about the title for a
Yep,
while. Yeah, that's a good
exactly.
idea.
So I would have had Natty turn on Ronda, costing her the match against Alexa, but Alexa just like pins her or something. The ref gets knocked out at some point during the match. Natty comes down, looks like she's gonna help Ronda, who's getting like double teamed by Alicia Fox or Mickey James or something, and then Natty breaks that up and then just clocks Ronda, and then Alexa pins her and retains the title. Like I think. I thought the whole Natty and Ronda thing was gonna, happen a long time ago, but they still are continuing with it for whatever reason. I don't know, but that's definitely where I would have went with it. Was Natty turning on Ronda, who she thought was her
I like
best
that.
friend, and then that's the match I would have had at Evolution is Ronda versus Natty, building that up as a good feud. I think that would have been a lot better than what the hell they're giving us with this 6-woman tag crap.
I agree, because what's the point in putting the title on Ronda and then not having her even in a title match at Evolution? We're gonna have a triple threat.
I would have had Ronda fight for this title for a
six-man.
long time. Like
I wouldn't have either.
I would have had her fight for it for a long time. That way, when she wins the title finally, maybe even at Survivor Series, it makes it feel a lot
means
better.
something.
Yeah, she didn't have to go through just one barrier. She had to go through a bunch of obstacles to get there. I think that would have meant a lot more for her. And as for Alexa, I guess at Evolution. I guess I have a biased pick and say she faced Trish for the title. I don't know, but obviously Alexa would retain. I think that's honestly.
I'm honestly okay with that. You don't need any build-up for that either. It's kind of like with NASCAR with the champions provisional. Bam, they get a title. They get an opportunity.
Yeah, because Trish, when she left, she vacated the title, so she could honestly just say, I'm coming back for a title.
I didn't lose when I left. Yeah.
And then you can have Trish put over Alexa. I mean, I'm okay with that. Yeah. And you could build it that way, because I think the way they're building it is that Trish is just going to fucking squash Alexa at this Evolution pay-per-view, which I don't know if that's the right way to do it. If you really want to build,
Not at all.
Bringing it to the
unless
next...
Unless you're gonna have Trish on TV for the next 2 or 3 years, that would just make no sense.
I mean, as much as I love Trish, it just doesn't make sense for her to win that match regardless.
Then you're just burying Alexa.
Exactly.
Oh, she lost to somebody 20 years her elder.
And how
never gonna be
great
able
would
to
that
get
be
another
for
title,
how
in my
great would
opinion.
that be for Alexa to get a win over Trish Stratus? Like that would just be huge.
Oh, it'd be
for her.
awesome, and I think the way you're saying it would be better. I think if what you're saying is true, and they're gonna let Trish just beat the shit out of Alexa, then that just to me that ruins Alexa's whole career. I mean, people already hate on her, and then you're gonna let her lose to a person 20 years older than her. You could basically put the fucking nail in her coffin right then and there.
I think this whole point of this whole Evolution pay-per-view is to put over the new women from
I think it should be.
the legends,
Should be a passing of the torch, essentially.
And I mean, there's some instances where like some terrible person like Dana Brooke gets beat by a legend. Like like whatever. But somebody like Alexa Bliss that actually has had momentum and had these titles lately, I don't think she should be losing in a match like that.
No.
So that's how I would book it. I would have Ronda versus Natty at Evolution in just a grudge match lead up to that, and have Alexa versus Trish for the Raw Women's title at Evolution, and then I'll talk about Survivor Series at our next how to book segment. That's how I'd book the Raw Women's title. As for the SmackDown one, I just think they should have done the double turn at Hell in a Cell. I would have had Charlotte go full blown heel.
Agree.
Go full blown heel. Maybe even have somebody come out and help her. I don't know. Maybe Billie Kay, Peyton Royce, somebody. That way, Carmella has.
I think it would be cool to have them as her crone, because she's the queen.
Yeah, exactly.
These are my whatever they call those.
Yeah, they're
wenches,
her,
subjects, whatever.
Exactly. If she's the queen, she should have people underneath her helping her, right? Yep. So I would have Billie Kay, Peyton Royce come out, screw over Becky, and you can still continue this whole Becky as a badass, because she could still do it as a babyface. She could still attack Charlotte in a photo op with her with the title and the Iconics, right?
Yeah.
So I just think they could have done that. They could have capitalized on that right then and there, because Charlotte's getting booed like crazy. Becky's getting cheered like crazy. If you really want it to be heel and face, right now they have it the wrong way. And like you said, the crowd's just going to hijack this feud regardless. So they should have just had Becky lose the title here, or not even win the title in the first place. And then have Charlotte turn heel with Billie Kay, Peyton Royce, and then there you go. Becky gets more people behind her to try to get one up on Charlotte, and then lead that into a match at Evolution. Maybe Becky, I don't know, gets Naomi and Asuka in a 6-woman tag. I don't know.
And
That
you know what?
sounds-
Let them lose that. And then the next thing, let them lose that. And then you know what? At Royal Rumble or whatever, right before WrestleMania, let fucking Becky win. She'd be so over. So
And that's
over.
again, she should be chasing it just like Ronda. She should be with her momentum. She's got like, you know, it could be like Daniel Bryan where he just gets beat down and beat down and beat down so much that people
And
just
it
get
finally
behind
wins
him
it.
so much. Like Becky's doing some of the best work in her career, but it's kind of like, to me, it's like you said, it's diminished because of she's still getting cheered as a heel. What's the point? So that's how I would book the Raw or the SmackDown Women's title. I would have just had the double turn happen then and there. Have Charlotte have some disciples in, you know, Billie Kay and Peyton Royce, since they're not doing fuck all anyway. So have them do that for a while and have Becky chase and get her more momentum, build it up. There you go. There's your SmackDown Women's title match going forward.
And then you know what? You've already got it built up too for Charlotte's got her cronies. So that way that when fucking they want to do the Ronda Charlotte thing for WrestleMania next year or 2 years from now, whatever, they've got the cronies there to fight with them.
Yep.
Because she, you know, whatever is going to have her MMA chicks, and then Charlotte can have her cronies, and that'll work out for that too. So then you built basically two fucking things with one thing.
Yep.
Built two birds, one stone.
So I think that would be the right road to go about it for the SmackDown Women's title. And yeah, so that's our how to book segment. I think we're going to do it maybe bi-weekly or monthly, depends on, you know, what you guys are feeling, but we'll let you know. We'll try to continue with the segment as much as we can, as long as it's not going to be the same rinse and repeat stuff that we're saying over and over again. As long as we can, you know, have creative stuff to build to those pay-per-views, and we'll continue doing it. So after that's done, since that's done, I'll quickly, before we get into the wrestling history segment, quickly give a shout out to our sponsor. We're going to take a moment to give a shout out to ExtremeWrestlingShirts.com, which is the sponsor of the No Holds Barred Network. They specialize in WWE and MMA apparel with over 10,000 products in stock. From t-shirts to sweaters to muscle shirts and Halloween costumes. I can only imagine what those look like. You're not going to want to miss checking out this website, so go check out ExtremeWrestlingShirts.com. And as a special added bonus, use the code NOHOLDS at checkout, and you will save 10% on your order. That's right, perfect 10% when using the code NOHOLDS. So go check them out, the official sponsor of the No Holds Barred Network, ExtremeWrestlingShirts.com. So, now that that's out of the way, we're going to get into our next segment, which is This Week in Wrestling History. And I'm going to play the theme music for Tyler Jones before he gets into the segment. All right, so Tyler Jones, take it away for This Week in Wrestling History.
All right, everybody, settle down, class. I know at the beginning, before we even started the show, that I said I wasn't really going to do last week since we missed last week's wrestling history, but there was a few things that I did want to bring up, just because they were actually really good, really good history stuff that I thought was just really, very interesting. So we're going to go next week. We're going to start off with last week's first. September 19th, 2004, my old buddy New Jack, he actually missed his own retirement show because he thought he'd be served a warrant in Florida if he showed up. So he didn't even show up to his own retirement show because somebody said that he was going to get a warrant thrown at him. So he said, fuck that, I ain't showing up.
That's amazing. That's like typical New Jack.
Oh yeah, I mean that just shows you how much I love New Jack. September 21st, 1999, Triple H wrestles a company record 5 times on the same show. That was the Smackdown taping. That was the match that he had to defeat all the different people.
Triple H burying 5 people on one show.
Yeah,
wow.
I mean, shocker there, right?
It's a whole lot of shovels.
2005, WWE released Muhammad Hassan.
Oh man, that gimmick was so hot.
Ended, that ended after a very hot little thing.
I love the Muhammad Hassan character, man. I think it was just because of the time where it took place, but that guy got some of the biggest heat I've ever heard.
That worked perfect.
It worked perfectly, but yeah, I was kind of sad to see him go, but I mean, he wasn't the greatest wrestler in the world, but obviously,
No,
them switching to this PG stuff, that character definitely wouldn't fly nowadays.
It wasn't gonna fit there. I found this one, and I've been waiting to tell Mr. Corporate for about 2 weeks now. September 22nd, 1996, at In Your House 10 Mind Games. The man, the myth, the legend, the strongest man in the world, Mark Henry, makes his professional wrestling debut.
Beautiful. Love it.
And then in 97, on September 22nd as well, Raw debut of Cactus Jack, and it was the night that Austin stunned McMahon for the first time.
Wow. This date seems significant.
Also, again, another debut. This seemed to be the day of debuts. September 22nd, 1997, the same day that Raw debuted Cactus and Austin stunned McMahon, Nitro debuted Goldberg. So this was the first time we ever got to see the man, the myth, the legend, Goldberg out there.
Seemed like Monday Night Wars was just going at it.
Very much so.
What a week that was.
So going on to this week. This week, wasn't actually a whole lot of shit to talk about. That's why I kind of wanted to go back to last week a little bit. September 25th, 1993, Bryan Christopher debuted, and he actually lost to Jimmy Superfly Snuka in his debut. Bryan Christopher, the son of Jerry Lawler, fought Jimmy Snuka in his comeback.
Was it just like a
lost.
generic gimmick that he was using at the time?
I believe he was just Bryan Christopher. There was no... He after that, he went on to be Grandmaster Sexay, because this was obviously in 1993. So this would have been quite a bit of years before that.
Wow, what a way to debut against Superfly. Superfly. But...
And then, this is for Byron, And September 25th, 2000... The shit stain of the wrestling industry wins the WCW title versus Booker T. I don't know how Booker didn't kill him that night. I would have.
20 years later, you're still talking about it.
Oh my!
Still talking about it for the wrong reasons. Doesn't make it good.
There's no
September 27th, 1965, Bruno Sammartino had his WWF belt stolen out of his locked car. They did never found the belt either.
So this was not kayfabe. This was like real.
Not kayfabe. 100% real. Stolen out of his locked car.
Let me guess. Vince Russo stole it, right? I mean, he did
Probably.
everything else. He did everything else wrong.
Well, he did. So September 28th.
Hang on, wait, I got to talk about that real quick. What the?
Yeah.
So, did they just have to give him a new title, or like did this title ever come up on
they
auction or
never
something?
ever showed back up. From what the research that I did, it never ever showed back up in a pawn shop. Never showed back up at anything. So some fan held that in his attic till he died.
And somebody else probably has it now, and it's probably up on
somebody
eBay.
probably has it now, or it's been in the dumpster. To be honest with you, because you know what, his family probably went through digging through his shit, thought it was some crappy toy, something from his past, and they just threw it away. You never know. You really never know.
That's crazy.
September 28th, 1998, huge moment in Raw history in the Raw is the War era too. Stone Cold crashes the title belt ceremony between Kane and The Undertaker and Vince McMahon with the Zamboni.
Oh, what a moment that was.
A huge moment in Raw history, and of course, basically was another huge beginning to the Raw Austin McMahon feud.
That was iconic for that feud.
Huge iconic, very iconic.
That
also September 28th in 2011. This is a little more recent, but I thought it was pretty cool considering we kind of talked about it a little bit today. WWE signs the bashing Bulgarian Miroslav Barniashev, who is Rusev. And he was trained by Gangrel and Rikishi, so really, really talented wrestlers.
And also, I don't know if you missed it. What else happened on that day?
it was Rusev Day.
There you go. This guy gets it.
Yeah, I don't follow stupidity.
And then he became Alexander Rusev. That whole
well, that's what they were saying out there. They said Alexander, and then they crossed out Alexander on the thing that I was reading. It was so funny because changed his name again. I guess when he came in though, he was the bashing Bulgarian. Like that was his legit name. He didn't have a name after that because his real name was Miroslav Barniashev, or that is his real name.
It's come a long way, I guess. That was a good signing back then. Totally.
Yeah. September 29th, 1985, Jimmy Garvin and Steve Regal defeats the Road Warriors for the AWA Tag Team titles.
And that was significant. Steven Regal.
Huh?
My boy Steven Regal.
Steven Regal. And the reason this is significant is because the Road Warriors actually held those titles for 400 days. They lost on their 400th day of a title reign, which I thought was absolutely insane.
That's phenomenal. I love that. We got 400 days, guys, and we lose.
And you lose. September 29th, 1993, a team very near and dear to my heart, the Rock and Roll Express, make their WWF debut. It was very short-lived, but they were there.
Who did they face?
It didn't say, actually. Kind of weird. I thought it would, but it did. I tried to look it up, and I could not figure it out.
That's because did their run not last long in WWF?
No, they were more of a WCW, and then they kind of were more of a really popular territory team. So I mean, they Smoky Mountain, they were big in Mid-South, they were big in Memphis, big in Louisiana, and which is Mid-South. They were a little bit big in Texas there towards the in the middle of their careers, but not huge. And then they went to the WWF, and I think they fought Well Done, actually, which is a Smoky Mountain team. I think they made their debut on WWF because Jim Cornette was helping them get that.
Your boy.
So, next thing was a really big thing, probably my favorite thing that I saw throughout the whole week. September 30th, 1960, Giant Baba and Antonio Inoki made their professional wrestling debuts in Japan. Two huge wrestling icons, absolutely huge. In terms of internationally and over here, they changed the game. Baba, basically, and Inoki, they saw the way wrestling was going over here towards the hardcore thing. They took it to Japan and made it absolutely enormous. 1972, September 30th, WWF presented the first ever showdown at the Shea, which was when they did the wrestling matches at Shea Stadium, which now the New York Mets used to play in, not anymore. But they did a series of 3 events at Shea Stadium, which I thought was pretty cool. So that kind of was the whole start of the stadium shows, basically.
Oh, that's where this whole thing started, huh?
Essentially, but it looks like it was Vince McMahon Sr. that started that off because it was the WWF.
Maybe it was Vince Russo.
No, he wasn't there at 72. He was just a fucking little shitty sperm in his daddy's fucking thing at that point, probably.
That's cool, though, the fact that they started doing, arenas and stadiums back then, even.
Yep. I just thought it was really cool that they started at Shea Stadium, too, considering being in New York. I really thought they would have started at Yankee Stadium, etc., but it was probably cheaper to go in at Shea.
Nah, we're too good for that.
Yeah, okay.
Anything else?
Didn't you have the Islanders and the Rangers in there last year?
Anyways, what's your next history moment there?
That is the end of your lesson today, everybody. I hope you didn't have a good time. Don't come back next week. See ya.
Well, thank you, Tyler Jones, for the insight to this last 2 weeks in wrestling history. There's a lot of iconic moments there.
How do you miss the most iconic moment of this week that's going to go down in history?
What?
The lowest Raw rating of all time.
Yeah, that's something we'll be talking about.
Well, I'm going to tell you that because I really don't think it will end up being the lowest Raw rating of all time. I think it will continue to get lower. So I'm not going to talk about it because it won't be history for very long.
Really quick, do they drop under 2 by the end of the year?
By the end of the year, no. By the end of 3 years, 100%. If they continue to do what they're doing. If they change it up and they do things differently, I could totally see it. But
I think January it's going to be 1.9, something like I don't know, I just feel it. I feel it.
I could see them having a bad one around Christmas just because of all the NBA and the football being kind of ended up there and everything at that point. College football, yeah. I could see it. It could happen. If the booking stays the way it is, I mean, why would anybody watch that when they can go watch fucking real shit?
Okay, so after that, we're going to get into our last segment of the show, and that is the list of 10.
10.
You know what? You know what happens? You know what's gonna happen? You just made the list!
That's right. Welcome to the list of 10, where we've kind of already gone over it, but we will give one moment that we thought was a perfect 10 that we enjoyed from this week, and we'll give a moment that made the list for something that we really did not like this week. And you can have 2 of each if you'd like to. So we're going to start off the list of 10 segment with Bryan, the main roster Maharaja. Is your 10 moment going to be Jinder Mahal this week?
No, we're talking the best moment of the week?
You can start off with whatever you want.
All right, well, the worst moment of the week I think we're all going to sweep is obviously the Brie Bella kick to the face. I think that is easily the worst moment of the week. I don't know about you guys.
So Brie Bella...
You know what? You just made the list.
Yes, she makes the list for Bryan this week. Ty, are you going to echo that, or do you have something else for your list moment this week?
I'm not going to echo it because we do a lot of agreeing around here, and there needs to be more disagreeing. You know what? That was bad, but at least it was something real. At least it was something that I could get pissed about, and it wasn't for booking reasons. It was because somebody was just fucking stupid. So, hey, that wasn't as bad as other shit this week. Honestly, my list I'm going to give to just Monday Night Raw in general this week. Just nothing on that show had any fucking redeeming quality whatsoever that made me go, man, I want to watch next week's Raw now. Nothing in the whole show.
So for Monday Night Raw...
You know what? You just made the list.
Yep, pretty much sums it up. They made the list this week. Just drinking it in, drinking in this Roman agenda Kool-Aid. My list moment this week, I guess I'm going to incorporate it into last week because I guess it kind of happened last week, and that was the announcement of this next fucking Saudi Arabia show. We're already having this Super Showdown event, and we're already building for that. Do we really need to have the Saudi Arabia show, especially a week after or a few days after this whole women's only pay-per-view, and then you're going to have a show where women aren't allowed at it? To me, that's just fucking ignorant to do that and to have it 3 days later just for the sake of money. I don't like the show in general. They already had their greatest Royal Rumble moment in June. Like, they needed to really have one again, especially this close to another foreign event and a women's only pay-per-view, which goes against everything that's happening on this show. So for that whole announcement of that show, the whatever they want to call it, Crown Jewel in Saudi Arabia.
You know what? You just made the list.
Yep, that's my list moment this week. The announcement of that show. So, Bryan, do you have another 10 moment, or is it another list moment, or what?
I have a 10. Are we doing the best now for the week?
Yeah, the 10 moment is something great.
All right. The 10 moment, obviously, is the only positive thing to talk about the whole week is the Samoa Joe AJ Styles feud continuing this week. I would love to say it's the 7-second dance break, but I don't want to get banned from the network, so I'm going with Joe Styles.
10,
That was your perfect 10, and the list moment is definitely the 7-second dance break. So, Ty, what is your next moment? Is it a 10 or a list? What do you got?
I'm just gonna go with the flow here. I could go with Joe and AJ, and once again, but that's just stupid to play along. Honestly, I really am digging the whole truth thing. Not the 7-second dancing bullshit. That's just stupid. You could do so much more with him. That's not ignorant. But I really, really appreciate the fact that that like Bryan said earlier, SmackDown is trying something different, trying to be a little bit different, trying to put something out there that's not super predictable. Not necessarily do I like it with him being with Carmella and all that. Nah, yeah, that could be different. That could be tweaked. But the fact that they're doing something different, I really appreciate. So I'm going to go with my 10 moment, R-Truth.
10,
I like it. I love R-Truth getting 10 moments. It makes sense since he's kind of Dillinger's boy right now. But I'm going to give my 10 moment. I'm not going to, do what Ty said, do something different. I'm going to give it to, although I don't like how they're building the feud as far as who's in what position, I think Becky Lynch's attack on Charlotte this week was really good. I don't think we've seen anything like that in a while where somebody attacks somebody during a photo shoot. I thought that was really cool. I thought we were just going to get another pointless Charlotte moment that we don't need. on TV with like the Bellas or something. But finally, you know, Becky just continuing her momentum, although she shouldn't be the champion and she should be the babyface attacking Charlotte as the heel, but we already said that in the How to Book segment, but I'm still going to give Becky my 10 moment this week for just attacking Charlotte and, you know, getting herself more over and making herself look more badass week by week. This is some of the best work Becky's been doing in her whole career. Just a shame that they're having it in the wrong spot. But either way, Becky Lynch this week gets my perfect. So that's that. Before we wrap it up, does anyone have anything they'd like to add before we wrap up the show today?
No, I mean, I guess sorry that there's not much to talk about on Raw and SmackDown, but we work with what we got, you know?
I mean, when Raw's shit, we're going to tell you Raw's shit. I mean, we're not going to sugarcoat it. If there's something good on the show, we're going to talk about it. But unfortunately, there was not anything good to talk about on Raw this week. It was really just a pointless show that didn't need to be watched for 3 hours straight. SmackDown, there's some redeeming qualities, obviously, but they're not perfect either. And I think it's just the whole outlook of what's going on right now just has to be changed. But how they think is good, you know, television and how to book storylines. I think that's basically what we've been talking about all show here.
Pretty much.
But yeah, so that's gonna wrap it up for this third installment of the Lowdown Show. So right here on the No Holds Barred Network, your source for all WWE, NXT, and UK coverage. You can go watch the NXT show, the next, the B show,
Right
you
here
want,
on
and then
the
you can
No
also watch
Holds
Craig
Barred
Messy on
Network.
the UK show. I think he does that every Tuesday. And you can listen to us live every Thursday, except for tonight. It is offline since big audio issues last week. And download the free app on all Apple and Android devices. We're also available to listen to on YouTube, iTunes, and Stitcher Radio and SoundCloud. And for all network updates, please go follow at NHD Network on Twitter. As well, you can go follow our show itself at The Lowdown Show on Twitter. All the links will be in the description below on the YouTube version of this podcast. And lastly, you can follow myself at Cappy Collects, and my co-hosts at Tyler Jones _22 and at Felix21. Until next time, I am your favorite host, Mr. Corporate himself, Corporate Cappy, and I'm always joined by my co-host, the natural born heel, Tyler Jones, and the main roster, Maharaja, Bryan. And we're always here reminding you to keep it on the lowdown.